Protein is often associated with exercise, athleticism, and muscle gain, and not without reason. Your muscle fibers are made up of smaller components called myofibrils. The myofibrils are long, tube-like structures that can contract to make your muscles tighten. Having more myofibrils makes your muscle both stronger and physically bigger. And myofibrils are made of, you guessed it, protein chains. So if your goal is to increase your muscle mass, will one type of protein be more beneficial? Animal protein is likely better at building muscle given its complete amino acid profile and better digestibility. Animal protein is higher in the amino acid leucine, which helps stimulate new muscle growth and with muscle recovery after exercise. Plant-based protein is generally wrapped in a fiber package, which means you don't absorb as much since your body doesn't break down fiber easily. That doesn't mean that consuming plant proteins won't allow for muscle gain though. A 2023 study compared muscle growth in young adults consuming either a vegan or omnivorous, mixed plant and animal diet, and a 2020 study reviewed similar criteria in older adults. Both studies found that vegan diets led to equal muscle gains as omnivorous diets. It should be noted, however, that both studies were small, 57 participants between them. Both studies also studied resistance training, and all participants specifically consumed high-protein diets. You may also be wondering how protein powders fit into this mix. These powders can be made from either plants or meats, though whey is most commonly used. Protein powders do not replace a well-balanced diet and should be considered a supplement, not a replacement. Protein powders, however, can be very useful for those with higher protein needs, said Swisher. This could include not only people who are trying to gain muscle but people with cancer or those who have had bariatric surgery, he explained. Protein powders are a processed food, so you're always better getting your protein from a whole food source because it's never a good idea to overdo it with a chemically created food, Cohen agreed. That said, high-quality protein powders can be included as part of a healthy diet to fill in gaps. Look for products with as few ingredients as possible and limit the added sugar or chemicals, said Cohen. Which protein is better for weight loss? If your goal is not to gain muscle but instead to lose weight, you might take a different approach to your protein consumption. Relying on plant-based, carbohydrate-based protein sources makes it harder for vegetarians to lose weight. This is because you need to eat more of the more carb-heavy plants to get the same amount of protein as from meat, and those carbs contain calories. People switching to this diet are often surprised when they start to gain weight. But some plant-based proteins will help you achieve your weight loss goals better than others. If your goal is weight loss, be mindful of portion sizes for starchier or high-calorie plant proteins like beans and nuts and seeds. Lentils have the highest amount of protein compared to other legumes, so they are a very efficient protein source in a reasonable serving size, as is edamame, and you get lots of fiber to boot. You're also better served consuming whole food for your protein needs as opposed to processed foods to avoid ingredients that wouldn't align with your goals. Which is better for overall well-being. Both animal and plant proteins are healthy and can be incorporated into a healthy diet. The diet as a whole is much more important than the individual foods, said Swisher. It is recommended to vary types of protein, especially if choosing plant proteins to ensure nutritional adequacy and take into account the other nutrients consumed with protein foods, he added. Aim to include less frequently processed protein types such as sausage, bacon, deli meat, and processed plant-based meat alternatives. Consume more fresh seafood proteins and avoid frying and breading them. Eat more nuts, seeds, and beans and legumes, Swisher recommended. Eating plants is objectively healthier than eating animals, but research shows that the Mediterranean diet, which has plants as its foundation and also includes lean protein sources and seafood, reigns supreme, said Cohen, adding, diversity is best. The Mediterranean diet emphasizes whole fruits, vegetables, and grains, and includes a moderate amount of seafood while limiting dairy products and red meats. There are also other benefits to switching some of your protein intake from processed foods or meats to plants. Increasing plants in the diet improves the diversity of your microbiome, which has tons of benefits we know about already, including improving your immune system and keeping your GI system humming, said Cohen. Environmentally, animal protein is also responsible for twice as much of the greenhouse gas emissions as plant foods, not to mention the questionable quality of meat coming out of commercial feedlots, Cohen added. The bottom line: at the end of the day, proteins are all the same. They're made up of amino acids and your body can't make them all on its own, so you'll have to consume something in order to get them. You can get all of the amino acids you need from either plants or meat. The main differentiating factor is what else is included in those foods besides the proteins. Meats will have all of the amino acids you need, but they're more likely to contain unhealthy fats, and they don't have any fiber. Eating a variety of plants will get you all 20 amino acids, but you'll have to consume more plants pound for pound in order to get the same amount of protein. This can involve taking in more carbohydrates. On the whole, eating a wide variety of foods, and especially whole unprocessed foods, seems to achieve the healthiest balance.